want to take it?
I'll take it. Welcome back to the DeliveringMore Podcast.
Welcome.
We
back.
are here.
Welcome, folks.
We are here. Today we have a actually pretty interesting interview, bringing some awesome information to the podcast. We had a CPA on, somebody who specializes in taxes. Disclaimer, everybody's individual tax situation is different. So
Facts.
We are not giving tax advice, but we did get some good information to offer. We do encourage everybody to find their own CPA to deal with their own individual tax situation.
We do. I appreciate you saying that because I was not going to remember to say that. So thank you very much.
Yep.
But like you said, we have Paul from
Schultz and Company.
Schultz and Company. They're right up in Fairlawn, Ohio, which is about 20 minutes north of our office. So if you're a Northeast Ohio driver, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, I'm sure we could provide you his information. He'd gladly take your business and help you guys out. Aside from that, though, we would 100% recommend you guys see your own CPA or seek your own individual tax advice, like Tristan just said. But
this will give you a lot of good pointers, and it'll give you a reason to do that. Like you actually understand, okay, that's a good idea,
right?
Because of the things that he says.
Right. Yeah. I know what we discussed, some forms you can look out for, some things you can do quarterly even to be proactive about the tax filing. So a lot of good information he shared with us, and we're very happy to bring that to you folks. Then right after that, we'll be doing another Know Your City segment. This week we have San Diego, California. We have a couple of great partners out there. We have Luna Grill stationed right out there in San Diego. I know you guys saw Kevin. Yeah, Takaya is also in San Diego. So we have some great drivers, some great partners out there. We have a couple great questions as well to ask you folks for the 5, 10, 15, and possibly a free t-shirt if you get all 3 questions right.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait to get into that as well. As always, there will be the link in the bottom of the video here, ideliverthat.com/podcast. If you want to submit your questions, submit to be a guest, or sign up to be onboarded to the Deliver That platform, please go to the website, submit your information, and we'd be happy to have you.
Who's ready for tax season?
Let's get to it. All right, and we are back with the newest guest on the DeliveringMore podcast. We have Paul with us, who is a CPA. Paul, thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Would you give our viewership a brief background on yourself and what you do and maybe your daily life?
Sure. I am a CPA with Schultz and Company. I was a partner in Key Huchak and Company for 20 years, and we merged into Schultz and Company 2 years ago. I've been a CPA for a little over 40 years, specialize in small business and individual tax.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Okay. That is a lot of experience. So that's always good to hear.
Yeah. I think you'll have a lot of good information to share with the contractors. I feel like a lot of people don't have, they don't know anything about taxes, and maybe you can just help show the way for them. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Each individual has a different situation. So I would highly recommend that they seek, their own advisor, but we will give them general information.
Yeah, of course. We'll do the best we possibly can here, and let's start off pretty general here. Would you be able to not divide, but dictate what the difference between an independent contractor and a W-2 employee is?
Okay, the main difference is a employee. The employer has control. They tell them what hours to work, what to do. They're supervised. Where an independent contractor is more of a gig type arrangement where the company pays them a fee and they are responsible for completing that assignment. They don't have to take it, whereas an employee, you pretty much have to do what your employer tells you.
Right. Yeah. And what I got the general basis of that, like we always say on the podcast, is independent contractors, you're running your own business, right? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're considered a sole proprietor for Internal Revenue Service purposes, and they will file a Schedule C and report the 1099s they receive on that as revenue, where an employee receives a W-2 and it just goes on page 1 of the 1040.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So, and I think one of the things that independent contractors could be a little bit more educated on, I think, they should do some research themselves, is, things like write-offs and stuff, because I know very basically that employees and independent contractors are taxed differently. Is there any common misconceptions about write-offs for being an independent contractor? I'm sure it depends on what you're doing, but is there any common misconceptions there?
Some independent contractors become pretty aggressive in their deductions, which, anything related to business is a tax deduction, mileage, tolls, uniforms, supplies, whatever. But some independent contractors get a little aggressive with that. And the number one item that IRS audits is Schedule C, which is the form that independent contractors file.
Oh, wow. That's good to know. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this can be said, but you think the government is a little more heavy-handed when they're looking into people like independent contractors as opposed to employers or employees?
Not necessarily. Employees, your W-2, they match that electronically.
Okay.
Your interest income, your dividend income, they match that all electronically. Schedule C, independent contractors, they really are not able to match all those numbers. So that's why they look at those as the main target for audits.
Okay.
Now, do you know anything like for delivery drivers for food delivery? Do you know any basic things that they might be able to write off on their taxes?
Well, basically, other than auto, and we'll go more in depth with that. Business use of their cell phone,
Okay.
tolls. I know they purchase courier bags; those are a write-off. If they have specific uniforms, that's a write-off. Anything that relates to completing the assignment that they accept.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good knowledge. I know the thing that we hear most about, or that I personally have had the most experience with, is the mileage capacity that you're going from your home to the store or from a drop off back home. Are there things that, like you said, like with tolls, you're going, through and from toll to toll, especially in like places like DC and larger metro areas, metropolis areas. Are there specific things that drivers can look out for when applying the mileage benefits?
Well, one of the benefits of being an independent contractor is that your office is your home. Therefore, any mileage from your home to pick up the food, to the final destination, to the return back home is all considered business miles.
Wow.
And I would recommend that, there's tons of apps that are available for both the iPhone
for tracking
and Android to track that mileage.
Yeah, I remember this is, so it's 2022. So actually almost 4 years ago to the date, I started with Deliver That as a driver, and I was like the iPhone, the Notes app. I was legitimately tracking my mileage just like in my Notes app, trying to keep track of it that way, because that's the only way I knew at the time. But like you said, I'm sure there are tons of applications out there these days that these folks can be using.
Yeah. And that's documentation, and that's what IRS is looking for if they are ever audited.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
What kind of documentation is like him putting notes in his iPhone, right? For example, is that something that you think would be accepted by the IRS as documentation for mileage, or would you need something more concrete?
No, if you have an app, that's definitely considered sufficient documentation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Perfect. Good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the mileage rate for last year was 56 cents a mile, and it's up to 58.5 cents a mile for 22. although there has been talk about raising it due to the fuel costs are going up.
Yeah, of course, with the inflation and everything happening lately. You segued nicely. I know we have a question on here specifically about, taking the standard mileage rate versus the depreciation of your vehicle, especially when filing the taxes. Could you touch on that a little bit and maybe even explain a little more in depth what that even means? Because I know I originally wasn't even sure what that meant.
Yeah.
Sure. The mileage rate's pretty simple. If you drive 10,000 miles for business and it's 56 cents a mile, you're going to get a deduction for $5,600. The other option is to track all of your expenses, oil changes, fuel, roadside assistance, license, insurance, all that. And then you take that 10,000 business miles divided by the total miles you drove for the year. For example, we'll use 20,000 to keep the math simple.
Yeah. Nice.
So
and
you
round.
would get a deduction for 50% of your expenses. 50% of your fuel. Now, tolls are different. You get if they're for business, you get 100% of those.
Okay.
50% of your car insurance, 50% of roadside assistance, 50% of any expense directly to your car.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is you can start depreciating your car. A car is depreciated over 5 years based on the business percentage. So if you used your car 50% for business, you take 50% of the cost and depreciate that over 5 years.
Gotcha. See, it can get really specific. So I see why you're not really allowed to give tax advice to people as a group, and people need to consult a CPA on their own to figure it out because it can be very specific to their situation. But what about specific like tax form? Is there anything a driver could be filling out as an independent contractor? Any kind of a specific tax form that they have to fill out?
They're going to have to fill out Schedule C,
Yeah.
Schedule
which
C,
is
that's right.
attachment to Form 1040.
Gotcha.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll ingrain that in them because we said that a few times already.
Did we?
So they'll know. Schedule C, folks.
Is that it though? Is that's pretty much the only thing they would need to file?
Well, if they do choose to use the actual expense of the vehicle, then they're going to have to attach Form 4562, which is a depreciation form, where they would show the depreciation on their vehicle.
Cool.
Gotcha.
And then obviously the idea behind doing either the mileage rate or the depreciation is you take whichever gives you less of a tax payment in the end, I believe would be what it is.
A bigger deduction.
Bigger deduction. Yes. Okay. Cool.
How would you decide that? If you drive a lot, I guess the mileage would possibly be the route you'd want to take.
Well, it also depends on the individual.
Right.
If you choose the expense route, there's a lot more record keeping required.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose the mileage route, all you have to do is keep track of your miles on your app.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose the expense, you're going to have to, record all your fuel, your insurance, your,
right,
repairs, maintenance, anything like that. So it is more time consuming. And if you drive more miles, more than 50% is probably a round number. If your business use of your car is more than 50%, then the expense way is probably more beneficial.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah, I mean that's an easy
depends
marker.
on the type of car and fuel costs and all that. But
yep, gotcha.
In California, the fuel prices are more than they are in Ohio.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you base it on your location, and yeah, you could probably take in a ton of factors, like you said. How many miles you're driving, how much is actually utilized for your business, your city, state, location. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few different things you take into account.
But it is additional record keeping, and we all know not everyone's good at that.
Yeah, especially you got to keep like a manila folder with like you go get an oil change, you put that receipt in there, you go get a tire change, you get 4 new tires, you put that in there. you got an oil leak, you go get that fixed up, you keep that receipt. Like you're saying, you got to make sure everything's documented so you can provide proof that
One
this actually
good
happened.
suggestion would be to get a separate credit card
Oh,
and
yeah.
just use that for your business expenses.
Yeah. So then you know everything on there was specifically related. That is a very good tip.
Because I was gonna say, keeping track of like some of the paperwork, like how long do you keep those things? Because you say for some reason, unfortunately, you would get audited. Like, how long do you keep this paperwork? If you're an independent contractor in 2015, do you still need all these documents in 2025?
Basically, 3 years of returns are open for audit
Okay.
by IRS. Now, if they deem there is fraud, which is, we're not saying any of our drivers would do that,
Mhm.
but
Right.
if there is fraud, they can go back 7 years.
Okay.
So we recommend clients keep their returns and records for 7 years.
Gotcha.
Wow. That is still a pretty extensive time though. So you got to make sure those are safe and in a spot you're going to be able to retrieve them. So that's always good to know.
Well, yeah, instead of getting the receipts from the gas station, if you have a credit card,
that's
way
right.
better.
Having the credit
Yeah,
statement
if you
much
have
easier.
the credit card, you don't need the actual paper receipt.
Right.
Yeah.
That ink will wear off after 7 years. That's for sure.
That is a fact for sure.
Everyone's going to have a few cash items, tolls, whatever, but
Mhm.
the credit card would document the majority of their expenses.
Right. So this is this could be a lot and be a little daunting for independent contractors, and that's why we wanted to bring you on to obviously bring kind of a guiding light where people can look for more information. Do you have any online services or organizations that that specialize in tax filing for independent contractors that you would recommend or of?
Not really. We're a small local firm.
Mhm.
One location with 25 employees. We're not a national firm,
Right.
but there's several softwares that are available out there to track your expenses. But if you're not, a full-time business person, or it's probably best to just use a credit card and an app to do the mileage.
Yeah. So that begs the question, do some CPAs specialize in different things? Like, is there one who might be specialized in a 1099, contractor as compared to, something else?
Not really. Anyone that does personal income tax returns would be knowledgeable for independent contractors.
Gotcha. Okay.
What about simply like over the past couple of years, no free ads, but usually it's the easiest to use TurboTax as opposed to like using a CPA. Would you suggest going directly through a CPA as an independent contractor instead of using an application like that?
Well, as a CPA, of course I would.
Okay. Yeah. Easy answer.
But, the TurboTax will certainly do all the calculations for you.
Mm-hmm.
What the TurboTax doesn't give you is the personal advice that a CPA would give you.
Right. Yeah. A little personal touch.
Yeah. I've always heard,
you can enter all your expenses, but you might be missing something or not thinking of something.
Of course.
Yeah, I've always heard, which I don't know, but if you do have maybe a little bit more complicated tax situation, you want to have that personal guidance rather than, the computer doing it for you. But I'm not sure. What about educational tools that maybe contractors can use to learn about this more in depth? Is there anything like that?
There's not a lot. There are the websites out there, but none of them I've found to be super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are out there as a lead in to try to sell you something.
Yeah. You get it for free, but then there's 10 up charges on the back end, and next thing you know, it's $100.
So
that happened to me.
I mean, like on our websites and probably most CPA websites, we have some informational tools and calculators, but really, there's nothing that can surpass personal advice.
Of course. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I know one of our wrap-up questions here, previously, like a W-2 employee, I'm anticipating receiving a payment from the government right after filing my taxes. Usually as an independent contractor, I believe you usually end up having to pay because you weren't being taxed while you're being paid for your gig work or job or whatever you want to call it. So are
Correct.
there,
There's no withholding.
right. So is there any proactive things that they can do to eliminate that happening? Or is that just like the end all be all? That's going to be the scenario no matter what.
No, absolutely. Their IRS has Form 1040 ES, which is an estimated payment. They are due quarterly.
Okay.
April, June, September, and January. And what you do is you estimate your tax and pay that in quarterly. And then at the end of the year, you don't have that big surprise, along with some penalties and interest.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good.
One of the safe harbor methods is if you owed $2,000 in tax in 2021, your estimates, as long as you cover that 2,000 quarterly or 500 a quarter, they won't penalize you at the end.
Gotcha.
Yeah, easy figures there to do some quick math on too. So, I mean, spitting out a lot of good useful tools. I think he named, plenty of forms like that one at the end there, the 1040, and then hopefully all this can be utilized for these drivers moving forward. And
Yeah, and even TurboTax or a CPA will provide those estimated payment vouchers for you, and then you just mail it in with a check every quarter.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay, easy enough then. Yeah, just gotta get the generation of it.
Mm-hmm.
They IRS wants their money as soon as possible.
Yeah. Don't we all? Don't we all?
Yeah, they're just like us. Yep. Is it a nationwide number for this is something we run into a lot. So I just want to hear from you. Is it nationwide? If an independent contractor earns less than a certain amount, they don't have to file anything. Is that state by state? That's
a good question.
Countrywide?
Good question.
If you pay an independent contractor less than $600, you do not have to issue a 1099 to them
for the year. Okay.
However, it is their responsibility to report the income. If they earn $599, it's their responsibility to report that income.
Gotcha. Okay.
And a lot of independent contractors work for different companies, and they get 1099s from different companies. They are supposed to report their earnings in the full amount.
Got it.
Ooh, another good thing to know. So realistically, that's just the generation of the business end that doesn't have to not necessarily report, but then send them out a form to report themselves.
Right. Yeah, they're supposed to report any earnings, whether they get a 1099 or not.
Cool. Okay. All right. Also, always good to know. Report everything you're making. Always.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Paul. I think it's all the questions we got for you, and I think it's going to be very helpful for a lot of people out there listening. And, as we said, what I think it might do is maybe encourage people to find their own CPA too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to cost them a couple $100, but it's going to save them potentially at least that in taxes.
For sure.
And
that's always the end goal.
The CPA fee is then deductible also.
Oh, really? Jeez. I might have to go get me one then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No question at all.
I already got done dirty by one of those online ones, so.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, Paul, thanks again for joining us. I hope our drivers are really going to take to heart a lot of the things we said and hopefully utilize a lot of the forms we mentioned and, make sure they're filing everything correctly, they're storing everything correctly, and then taking care of themselves to, in turn, have the best monetary, futures as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, tax compliance is a requirement, and it's to everyone's best interest to do a, reasonably good job to do that, and it saves them a lot of problems down the road.
Yeah,
for sure.
Gotcha.
Always problem solving. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Well, again, we appreciate it, and
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk to you maybe around this time next year again. Maybe we'll have you back on.
Yeah, or maybe I'll be in your office
Thank
too.
you. It's my pleasure. Be happy to do it.
All right, Paul. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, coming through. He came through for us big there. We scheduled this on pretty short notice. So I think we turned it around in like a week just to get this out to you guys as quickly as we possibly could. So thanks to Paul, and hopefully you guys got a lot of good information from it.
Yeah, I mean, bringing the information that me personally, I've never gotten. I'm a young adult just getting into my tax, season of life.
You probably could have used it like last year too from some of your comments.
Yeah, I know. And, too, like just being able to tell drivers now when they do ask tax questions, first of all, that I can't give you tax advice. Second of all,
It's a good starter.
Yeah. Second of all, you should definitely consult with a CPA because there is so much that I didn't know. And there is a lot that you can do to just save money, a lot of money
For sure.
too, if you're an active driver or
sure.
a contractor.
Yeah, and like the forms he was listing out there, I know the Schedule C, I think that's like your basic 1099 form, but then the one we spoke about at the end with the being proactive, I think it was the 1040, and he listed some numbers off afterwards. But
E5674321.
yeah, that's in the ballpark. But I mean, I know I'm a person who I like to try and be very proactive and like very frugal about my money. So making sure you're doing things on the front end and trying to get things filed and make sure you're in line with the government's regulations and not, like he said, you're coming into March and tax season, and instead of getting that, hey, you owe, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And well, you already knew you were paying that, quarterly. So now you only owe a couple hundred. Like he said, you're not getting this like smack in the face and you're surprised that you owe all this cash. You're kind of already well aware of the situation. So
yeah,
always good.
Exactly. Yeah. Generally, I just literally know nothing about taxes.
As I feel like that's kind of a general, the general populace.
Yeah. CPAs are the way to go.
CPA all day.
Yep.
All right.
Let's get into this segment though. Today we got this San Diego.
Know your city.
Know your city. All right. Well, let's get into it. Today we got San Diego, Know Your City. Let's spin this wheel. Jim? You guys all met Jim?
Probably not.
Not yet.
Well, no. Meet the team's next. Wait. Yeah. Don't know Jim. Yeah. Okay. Yes. You guys all know Jim. Yeah.
You guys all know Jim? Jim is going to spin that wheel. Jim, spin it for San Diego.
Spin it, Jim.
Chicka.
Well,
this one's really spinning. Ken W.
Kenny.
All right. Let's give Ken W a call.
Get him on the horn.
All righty.
Ring him up.
All right.
Drop the line.
1 hour later.
Crank that volume up.
All the way.
Yeah. Cool.
Hello, it's Ken.
Hey, Ken. This is Tristan calling you from Deliver That. You're on the Know Your City game show here with Deliver That.
Great. Okay.
All right, we're going to be asking you 3 questions about your city. Every one you get right, you get a $5 incentive on your next delivery. If you get all 3 right, then you will get a T-shirt sent your way as well. Have you lived in San Diego your whole life?
Yes.
Oh boy, these should be a breeze.
Yeah,
all except the first year, but
no one remembers that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see here. Sometimes Ben can get a little, tricky with these questions. So
no, if he's been in San Diego his whole life, these, I believe, at least the first 2 should be no brainers. We could probably go no multiple choice, and I bet he gets the first 2.
No pressure.
okay.
All right, we're gonna give you multiple choice though. First question: San Diego produces the most of this fruit. A, avocado. B, banana. C, pineapple.
A, avocado.
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's no. Ken, did we have to give you those choices? You knew that one, right?
Yep, I heard they call it avocado.
Yeah. Pretty sure of that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was an easy one.
All right, that's a great. Is that a fruit? Yeah, it is a fruit.
Yeah, I literally had to Google is an avocado fruit before we started this.
Wow. All right, well, Ben, hit him with number 2.
Number 2, Ken, we got this fast food chain began as a burger stand on El Cajon Boulevard. A, In-N-Out. B, Jack in the Box. C, Fat Burger.
Okay, this one I'm not sure of.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna go with In-N-Out.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
No.
No, it is actually Jack in the Box.
Yeah, Jack in the Box.
Oh.
I honestly have never been to Jack in the Box. Have no idea where our most local Jack in the Box would be. I threw In-N-Out there because I knew it's an LA thing, like a California thing. And
Yeah.
I knew it'd throw him off the scent.
Yeah. He's trying to trick
Yeah, I
you.
could have known that. Their corporate office is here. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
called Food Maker.
I got a couple stories about Jack in the Box I'm not going to share on this podcast.
Yeah, well, let's move right.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
Third and final for let's get you $10, Ken. I want to get you 10. Let's
we can
let's
do
get
this.
this last one.
All right.
Alrighty.
This punk rock band, most famous through the 90s, calls San Diego home. A, Nirvana. B, Blink-182. C, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wow. I know it's not Nirvana.
All right, process of elimination. That's a good tactic.
Blink-182 and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't think I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers are LA. I'm going to go with Blink-182.
Ding, 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 ding. That's it.
Let's go.
Yes.
Blink-182. I believe Poway, California, which is in San Diego, I believe.
Was that how you say it, Poway?
Yes, that's correct.
No, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I was going to
Yeah.
correct you.
Poway, California, Blink-182 was created. $10 for Ken W. Ken, thank you so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate your time.
Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank you much.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
All right, great. Have a good day.
You too. We'll see ya.
Thank you. Bye.
What'd you think, man?
$10, baby. That's all I
$10.
care about.
Yeah, I mean, I love the $10 and getting two questions right, especially immediately, and him guessing kind of the Blink-182 and knowing that Nirvana wasn't, and then he was right about LA
Yeah.
with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, he was.
And San Diego was Blink-182. That was a good guess. That was pretty good. I always want to give somebody that 15 in that shirt though.
Yeah, the
But
shirts.
it's hard. It's hard. It's part of the game.
It's you gotta play both sides, and we don't want to give them too easy and just be pumping out T-shirts, but we also want to give these prizes out, so you kind of play both sides of the fence.
Yeah. And I also want to know what determines that avocado is a fruit because it has a seed.
Honestly, when I googled it, it initially said it said the avocado is on a tree or is a tree, and then I was completely thrown off.
Because strawberry is not a tree.
Where's strawberry come into play here?
It's fruit too.
I have no idea. What you're
Well, I
talking
think
about.
honestly, what constitutes a fruit is if it has a seed inside of itself. Because if you think
Oh,
about
well, avocado for sure. They have
Yeah.
like that massive boulder of a seed.
celery, doesn't have seeds. Broccoli doesn't have seeds. Carrots doesn't have seeds. Well, they grow off the top. But
So that's why tomato is a fruit
Yeah.
because it has seeds.
yeah, but I mean,
Cool.
I think it's all a lie to be honest.
Yeah,
Somebody
alright,
just made
hey.
it up on the spot.
Your everyday fruit tangent, folks. That's what we bring you.
Yep. Well, all right, let's wrap this up. Let's plug us in, Benny.
Yeah, we'll throw the plug out here. Jim, ideliverthat.com/podcast. Submit the questions. Submit to be a guest. Submit to become a driver on the Deliver That platform. We would love to have you. 42 states, 6,500 zip codes across the United States and Canada. We need you folks. Please sign up. Please join us as soon as you can, and we'll love to have every single one of you. So thanks again for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. And we'll keep bringing these to you folks every Friday morning, afternoon, whenever you need them. We're here for you.
Thanks for joining.